Hi everyone, welcome back to Brad's Books. I apologise it's been so long, it's been a while. Now, this book I'm going to talk about today is called The Book of Magic by Alice Hoffman. I have literally filmed this video about 6 times over the last few months since I first read it. My feelings on this book are a little bit mixed, so my intention is to talk about a non-spoiler review and then have a bit of a spoiler discussion about it. Once again, I'm in another hotel room because that's what I seem to live on as I travel the country working all the time. So, okay. This book is a lot of fun, and I do literally love about 90% of it. It's a combination of the series, the Practical Magic books, that centers on the Owens women. That goes all the way from out of timeline, from Hannah Owens, and who looked after Maria, all the way through to Kylie and Antonia and future generations that are hinted at. So a lot of information to cover in the span of these books. So I just wanted to have a little bit of chat about this book and what I loved about it and what I didn't love about it. Now, I didn't know that this book was actually coming out. It had been a while. I did a review on magic lessons, and I was watching that previously, and I've been watching some other people's reviews on YouTube because I'm interested to see what people think. And I just Googled, when's the next Practical Magic book come out? And then I saw that the Book of Magic was already released. So I'm pretty happy, walked down the shop the next day, got a copy. It wasn't on show, which is a bit strange, but it was up in the cabinet behind the lady there, and had a look. Very super excited. There was my day and night gone. I flew from Cairns to Darwin, read it on the plane, and I couldn't put it down. I really enjoyed the book, and like I said, I love about 90% of it. I've got some notes here, so forgive me if I'm looking down. It's been some time since I've read it, because like I said, I've been trying to film this video. But that's what we think. Let's see what I think. I don't think it's an author's responsibility. I'm saying this like I'm quite upfront about it. I don't think it's an author's responsibility to wrap up everything nicely in a bow, or to make things appeal to a certain type of reader. Like I might not be the target audience for this book, and I fully accept that, and there might be things that I perceive as being unusual that others completely do not, and that's why I'm keen to have a chat with people about it. I just love the book, and I just want to talk a little about it. Okay, so my spoiler-free wrap-up. Sally Owens is not comfortable within magic, and that her being this uncomfortable with it has not led her to prepare her children, also known as the next generation of magical beings in the Warrens line, for anything to do with magic. As far as they know, it does not exist. And Sally, who was really suppressed herself and pulled herself away from the world to a high degree, she knows that the curse does exist, but she's living like it doesn't. And she tells herself that when her daughters do fall in love, that she'll simply come and tell them then. Until that point, she's just going to wait, let them live their lives happy until the curse has an opportunity to take hold. I'm not sure if Sally's done a family history, but it seems to be the Warrens family line fall in love quite young. So we've got Antonia, who's in her early 20s at university, and we've got Kylie, who's a teenager. Yeah, she's a teenager, she's ready to go to university. Can't speak for everyone, but I know for myself, I fell in love multiple times as a mid to late teens, and I think that Sally's a little bit out of step with her daughters' lives, not preparing them for magic. So when something goes wrong, when the curse does take hold, Sally's life and the Warren witches' lives are really turned upside down, because Kylie leaves. She leaves overseas. There is no spells, there is no protection, she's not in the family home. It's not just people who are seeking to take advantage of witches, it's the wider world who wants to take advantage of a young woman, and also a young woman who's young, naive, and powerful. And that's quite a combination. So the Warrens have a road trip and a plane trip overseas to try and protect their young one, because no matter how much control Sally thinks she has over her world and the world of her daughters, the Warrens' lineage of being sought out and being taken advantage of has once again struck again. So we leave America and we go overseas for England. The book really explores quite a few different relationships, and being the last book in the series, Sally really explores the true cost and why she pulls herself away from the world so much. Gillian is also present, and that will come into the spoiler part in a second, but that's about all I've really got to say about that part. And really exploring the aunt's lineage here. So this is not a Sally and Gillian wrap up on the kids. It's everyone's stories coming together. So if you like practical magic, if you've read the other books, I really stress the point that I think you should read the other books. This is not an entry book, the last book in the series. If you like stories about witches, women, and the struggles that they've had now and throughout the centuries, I really recommend this book. It's quite hopeful in parts. It expands the magical world, and it also lets us know how the Warren women are going in the present world. Because I remember when I read the first Practical Magic, I remember thinking to myself, I wish I could see what it was like for the aunts when they were growing up. And that's when the next book we got to meet Vincent and the aunts when they were young. I thought, I'd really like to know about Maria, and that was great because that worked out. And then I thought I'd really like to know what's happened to Tanya and Kylie. So yes, I recommend this book. I love 90% of it, and I'd recommend go have a read of it. And once you have, feel free to stick around, and we'll have a bit of a chat about the spoiler part of it. I don't want to sigh. I do love this book. I'm ready to sigh, and I really are. If I've been sitting on a train and someone thought to themselves, I wonder what that man's thinking about in such in depth, it's 100% it's me trying to figure out if I like this last book or not. There's so many balls in the air. Like, I'm going to throw it up. I think this part's really not really thought out very well. And then I grab hold of it and throw it back up. Maybe it's because of the time period, and maybe it's because of this, maybe it's because of that. Am I trying to pull information in the book that's just not there? Or am I reading between the lines and seeing what the author's really trying to tell me, and I just had to go and think about it? So we'll cover some points where I can try and explain to you that there's things I just don't get. Anyway, and that's okay. So Sally. Oh, Sally. Sally, what have you done? She's really she shut herself down, and she hasn't told her kids about magic. And we once again, the movie and the books are very, very, very different. I understand, I get that. But Sally, you have a magical power, a lineage, one that is literally deathly to the one that you love the most. You have passed this curse on down to your daughters, but you've given them nil preparation because you want them to live a quote-unquote normal life. Now, Sally, I understand that you got teased. I understand that you got isolated, and I'm very, very sorry that she lost 2 husbands. She no doubt has PTSD from this, and this is 100% the cause of the reason she's so emotionally withdrawn. But Sally, there's witches out there in the world who can summon red death clouds, and who want to take advantage of young runaway witches, particularly of the Warren line, and you have not prepared your children in any way. And this is one of the points where I'm thinking to myself, is Sally kind of yes, she's got PTSD, and yes, we need the adventure to take place, so just accept that? Or am I is she kind of like a metaphor for drug addiction parents, men and women who are not there for their children because they've had to battle something quite intensely? Perhaps not the drug addiction, maybe I'm going a bit too far, but a PTSD parent, certainly. There's a scene where Kylie comes into the office, and Sally's like, I'm too busy, I'm at my desk. And then Kylie's like, oh, I just want a magically hidden book. And the woman at the counter's like, oh, I know about witch things. I know where it is, young Kylie. There it is. There it goes. And Kylie's like, wow, there's witches? I need to go overseas. And then the woman's like, oh, okay. And then Kylie leaves. And then Sally's like, hey, where's Kylie? Where's that young child who hasn't fallen in love yet? Because I'd warn her about the curse. Kylie is gone, Sally. You need to have early communication, early and often, Sally, about witchcraft, about love, about all the secrets you have hidden. Because, Sally, you have dropped the ball on this one. 110%, and I did not see it coming in this series. You were the smart little girl who, and like that part, like it gives you goosebumps where Sally calls up her Jenny and Fred, and she said, I got told to call you if there was ever any trouble. And I think it's Franny says, is there any trouble? And then Carly's like, even now I'm thinking this is a great scene. And Sally's like, yes, we need to come live with you. Like, our parents are dead. It's one of those things where it's like, maybe I haven't given this book enough time, because even now I'm like, yes, I can 100% see that Sally's just living a world where she just ruled magic out, just 100% ruled it out, and she hasn't explored it with her children. But the thing that gets me at the end is when, and I'll get to this later on, I'm jumping ahead, when Sally loses her powers, it's like, I sacrificed my powers. For a guy who's just recursed himself for the second time, I've sacrificed my powers. And then she's like, you know what, I'm not going to learn how to be like a wise woman. I'm going to learn about magic and how to do it. And I'm sure that there's a message in there. But anyway, I've jumped ahead. So I wasn't very happy with Sally. And I'm sure there's context within the book there, but she's definitely out of step, and she's set her children up to fail. So that's one thing. Something that really got me from the get-go. Sally's plan was really quite flawed. Carly, yep, young and free, but she really ran with it. She's like, there's no such thing as magic. Are you serious? That's crazy. There's a hidden magical book. My boyfriend's been hit by a car. I am off over England. I am not going to talk to my mother behind the counter because I'm so annoyed at her. I'm just off and gone, which, yeah, 100% realistic. And I'm sure that does happen. But Kylie as a character, she just runs with it. She's like, yep, to love this man, I'm going to go overseas, do anything she can, really. Like, she's with Tom, like, she's really making bargains and giving parts of herself over to him, all in an effort to save Gideon, who's dying very slowly of the curse, mind you. So he's going quite well. Like, the Death Watch Beetle was there clicking for him, but then he took days and days and days. Yeah, Carly just really up and ran with it. So I thought that was quite interesting. I've jumped ahead to Sally and Kylie. Okay, I'll go back to Jet, losing Jet. I thought that this book would surely go over the 7 days because we lost Jet so quickly. And I thought, isn't this interesting? We have lost Jet. And one of the things about getting older, which happens to all of us, is that we kind of just learn that things that we take for granted and things that we love slowly leave us. And it's just an unfortunate truth of the world. And I thought to myself, wow, Jet's really gone. Like, what an interesting opportunity to see how Franny's going to carry on. It's no longer like the power of two, if you want a charmed analogy. It's just one woman, now the senior lady of her family, who has to lead them in one of the biggest struggles they've ever had. An opportunity to not only end the curse, but to have to save one of their own, who have been lost. So many have been lost throughout the centuries. But to use another charmed analogy, no, it's okay, because there is another one. Paige Matthews walks in. I've been angry at Vincent, how he treated his sisters. And I understand that he was in love, and to save his partner, he had to hide himself away with a French lady. And I understand all of that. And I also understand that Vince's partner died when Jet was still alive. I understand that when you've been by yourself and hidden away for so many years, I can only imagine how hard it would be just to suddenly reappear. I understand that. But as soon as we lost Jet, who was so desperate to see her brother again, Vincent comes back. And I was just thinking, one, it annoys me because of Vincent, one thing. But I understand. It's one of those things too, like with the book where it's like, it's not poorly written. A lot of it's just circumstance that annoys me. But Vincent, you could have come back and seen Jet. She wanted nothing more to see you again. And no, you just come back. And then finally, Freddie has a sibling to sort this all out with. I just didn't... The timing of it was really just kind of unfortunate. And I wasn't very keen on Vincent's character throughout the rest of the book. But I'll come to that a little bit later. I might as well talk about it now. With Vincent's the LGBTQI plus, it's good it's in the book, and I'm very happy. I'm a gay man. I think that it's nice to have representation in books, and to be able to read this sort of thing. I thought it was really, that's great. It's a good inclusion, and I'm not angry at it. Like, it's just some of the unfortunate things. Is that Vincent's character is like, it's once again, I've got to like, I have a problem, then I think about it, and then I think it makes sense. But okay, so back in the time period when Vincent was young, there was quite lots of drugs around. He was on drugs, I think he was stealing, and he needed to find himself. He didn't know he was gay yet. Get it. It makes complete sense. And you couldn't exactly come out and be completely open with your family. And this is one of the things where I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm giving too much credit to the book or if this is what's intended, but sometimes when you are gay, particularly, it could be now or in the past, your life does effectively end. And if you want to lead your life the way you want to lead it, you've just got to go on, and you've got to just leave your old world behind and just go off in the sake of being true to yourself and love. So I get that. But also, Vincent, I think it was strongly implied, well, it was, I think he was sexually abused when he was younger. Like, there was this woman next door and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember if it was 18 or not, but it's strongly implied that there was, the Warren's effect, that like people were drawn to him. But he was one of those gay people who sexually abused, drugs, lost completely. Only way to have love is to go off and find himself and hide himself away from the world, and that's unfortunate. I get that. And then when we have Antonia's character, I haven't read this book for a little bit. Yep, nice that she's lesbian. That's great, and I think that's a good inclusion, and very, very happy with that. I don't want to take it out, but it's one of those things too where it's like, you kind of get these things in books where it's like, oh, I'm really, really stressed because I'm pregnant and I've got these family things going on, and I'm out of my depth because there's something dramatic's happening, and I just really want to like try and sort my life out, and it's not an opportunity for someone to hit on you because you're in a really bad position, and someone's like, oh, you're a lesbian and you don't know it yet, or you're gay and you don't know it yet, so I'm going to hit on you right now when you're in your worst position, and you're going to be like, what now? I can't believe that. And then you're going to find an awakening in yourself that, oh, actually I'm a lesbian and I'm attracted to her, and she could see it when I couldn't. Well, if she could see that you're a lesbian, maybe she could see that you've got so much happening in your life at the moment that when you go into a lawyer's office, because everything's going haywire, maybe don't strike with the getting hit on. I love this series, and I'm quite passionate about this last book, as you can see. But besides that, no problems with the. It's not even a problem. Like I'm quite happy with these characters. It's just something I just want to talk about this book, get the ideas out there and whatnot. So while I was talking about Vincent, I thought I'd bring that up. Franny's death at the end. I'm going with the characters because that's the thing I really care about at this stage. Freddie's death, it's one of those things. Yep, she was always going to be the one to break the curse. Yes. No, the sisters aren't really left by themselves once Freddie goes because Vincent's back. The book that was found in the lawyer's office that said how to reverse the spell, the curse. And I'm like, oh wow, that was always there. And Maria wrote it, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Maria and Faith both found ways to work around the curse to have the loves of their lives. The curse that Maria put on herself, that every other Warren's witch did not have that possibility. Well, Vincent did, but he did it in a very special way, but different way, not special. But yeah, so Brenny sacrificed herself. Means a lot, 100%. good stuff. But the book that needs to be sacrificed, but the book that can just be recopied, the book turned back into a frog, but don't worry, I've got the spells written down, and the book's the source of the curse. Those are a little bit full on for me. I would have loved the book, the thing that all the Warren witches have turned to in the hour of need to get them out of strife. I would have liked that to be lost in sacrifice, and for them to have the true opportunity to start anew. And that could have made Sally's learning like non-hereditary witchcraft mean even more. You know what I mean? So, but Franny's death and Jet's death were quite sad. They were getting on in life. Yes, I wish there was another book. 100% of my problems with this book would have been 100% solved if we just had another book. It all seems to happen so quickly. Kylie's gone overseas, she's met a guy, she's making love with him, and she's doing death magic. While Franny's lost Jet, but Vincent's back. And then we get to Ian. Oh, Ian. Okay, so I'm reading this book, and Miss Hoffman, I really do appreciate this book, and I love it. And if there seems to be like sassiness to my voice, it's because I'm passionate about this book series, and I'm just excited to talk about it out loud, because I'm thinking about this all the time. Ian. So Sally, who's pent up, repressed, self-repressed, you might say, completely covered, shut herself off to love. Magic's like hide it away. And then we've got Ian. We've got the Englishman who's literally, let's have a checklist. Sally kind of repressed, shut off. Ian, naked. Sally, who's kind of cut herself off to emotions. Ian, who I'm pretty sure is sexually aroused on the bed. I've got to reread it. Apologies if I've just injected that there myself, but if anyone can confirm that for me. But I do know for a fact that Sally and Franny both kind of, they take a little bit of a glimpse. And Sally, who also has herself kind of magic shut away. Ian's got magic literally etched onto his skin. I'm like, oh, okay, well, thank you for introducing me to Sally's new husband. The book probably wasn't trying to hide that. I'm not a Sherlock Holmes. I don't think I'm a detective. I don't think that I cracked the code. I think that was pretty evident from the get-go. But Ian, I did not warm to Ian. And I've got to put a little asterisk next to that, because I need to come back to everything about England. But let me talk about Ian first. Yeah, Ian was interesting, got himself cursed, Sally fixed it, and then he got himself cursed again at the end. And then Sally's like, I'm going to make a sacrifice, and I was waiting for this sacrifice, and Sally's like, I'm going to cut my hair off. And I'm like, Sally, is your hair going to grow back? Because you could buy yourself a lace front. You could do anything you wanted, Sally. Is this going to end the curse? But then I saw that it was going to save Ian's life. And the whole part about like women warriors cutting their hair off throughout history, so like they can't be dragged by the hair. Good. I'm glad that wasn't the sacrifice. But Ian's character, I just didn't warm to. And I didn't warm to England in this book. How there's like barmaid. I'm all for. I think I have no reason for it. Hopefully I come back to it. This has gone way off script in my mind. I'm Australian, as you might have figured out. And I've been to America, I've been to Hawaii, so I've been in the United States once. I haven't been to mainland America. So this practical magic series to me, I've got this kind of like magical landscape where this is all like possible and real, and this like magical different land. Almost like you might the North Pole to, is the North Pole to Christmas? Hopefully, I think it is. It's not the South Pole, North Pole. So you've got this idea in your head of this magical world where such things exist. But if I read a story about someone walking down Main Street, Darwin, I probably wouldn't buy into it as much. So mainland America kind of, yeah, I'm buying this story. England is a little bit like Australia in my mind, and I'm more familiar with England just versus TV and whatnot, and kind of like certain parts of the population still reflect a little bit of like English kind of sensibilities and whatnot. So the England world's not a magical place that I can perhaps see others painting it. So I go from this very real, like magical world of mainland America to England, where there's barmaids who are like, don't like that man, I'm going to cast a little hex, a little spell, to a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So I understand that they're saying that every woman has their own form of magic, and everyone has their own ability to do a little bit of magic, and it's kind of like the knowledge is there. Which is great, but I didn't buy England. I didn't like Ian's mum. I didn't like the pubs. I didn't like the red circle of death. I didn't like Tom. And Ian, I just found that I just wanted to go back to everyone who's like the Owens woman, like she spoiled that cow's milk. Let's hang and burn her. It's like, okay, well, do you know they have the ability to summon red clouds of death that's going to kill absolutely everyone? Well, maybe them doing a spell so your husband doesn't leave you is pretty nice in the grand scheme of things. So it was interesting to get this wider look at what witches can do. And I think we've had glimpses of that in the past, but I felt like I was in Harry Potter at the end there, and I had Sally and Gillian and Franny like running around doing all these things, and then when Ian just and it's once again, it could be the concept of the like you've got the hero and you've got like the maiden, and she's like taken one step on a flat road and like, oh, my ankle, it's broken, and I'm sure that could happen to I've hurt my ankle, and she has to be saved. Which is completely ridiculous, but it's a trope from the past. And I'm just wondering if that's another thing too, like where Sally had to, as the hero of this story, well, her story perhaps, that was a bit shady, but Sally had to like save him effectively, twice. Maybe that's where it came from, maybe. I'm just seeing if I really, yep, Kylie ran with it. Tom seeking power, that whole story of like he was connected through Maria back to the judge, and his power was really weak, and he gained power through Kylie, and I can see that it covers lots of things: abuse, manipulation, transference of power, all that sort of thing. Sorry, I got a message on my phone. I see that, but I just kind of got like Tom as being like just a bad guy, who just needs to really leave everyone alone. And he was a comic book bad guy, and I just felt a little bit rushed. Yep, Ian with everything, like literally, it's written all over him. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he wears his significance to the book and his role to Sally on his skin. Oh, the Secret Library Society. I'm like, Kylie, where's this going? And you've got this guy, and he's got a backstory, and we did get more information from the backstory, and I did appreciate that. But I'm like, is this scene finished? Like, it hasn't even started, and it felt like 50%. Like, what is this? What book series is this turned into? And I just felt that was a little bit rushed. So Sally I'm disappointed in, but I can understand. She's lost 2 husbands, and the stereotypical characteristics that you have when you're young, that you're smart, you're clever, you're this and you're that, you can lose all of that throughout life, because life can be hard and you can go through different trials, and I understand that. I just wish there was a scene where Sally just full on apologized for causing all of this. Because even though Sally has been through plenty of abuse through magic, I guess, like the losses that she suffered and the pains that she's had, she's lost her mother and she's lost 2 husbands, and she's got this power that she feels withdrawn from. We still have responsibility to our children to shield them from that. But I feel that they were directly affected from it. Sally's like, I'm going to protect him by doing this, protect him by not doing your role. Yeah. Gillian got her powers back, and she's got a boyfriend, and I'm pretty sure that she has a kid now. I can't remember the boyfriend's name, so that's nice for Gillian. And she kind of had those flashbacks, and was it to Maria? I can't remember, but they got Gillian in there, which is good. Sally moves in Hannah's cottage. Great. Jet, gone too quickly. Vincent, yeah, I'm not really keen on him. Like, you can't be a... There's got to be a time in your life when, Vincent, you're not the 16-year-old confused queer boy who's trying to find his way in the world. You're now a 70-year-old man, something, who's had love and lost, and it's hard, but I just want you to step into that role, or try and acknowledge that role of the grandfather. Yes, he tried to do something, but he just kind of just walked into that position, and he was just given it with very little fanfare, and I think that's my problem with that. And Vince's story in depth. Yeah, Ian, not a big fan. I'm really used to in-depth books. I think that's one of my big things. I'm used to the in-depthness of the practical magic books, and how, like, if I read a practical magical book, like, my version of writing, like, the character walk down the road. In one of Hoffman's books, you're going to find out what kind of day it is, what month it is, what flowers grow there, what flowers don't grow there, what spells are used by those flowers, and who those spells have helped out in the past. And you're also going to find out who owns the house and what their love life's like. And you're going to get all that information so in depth, and this book just felt like it was just kind of smashed out a little bit. Gosh, I'm being negative. I'm being completely negative. And it's not. It's just... I love these books. And like I said, I love 90% of this book. I need to talk about the positives. At 31 minutes, I need to talk about the positives. Kylie, yep, she runs off into the world. Antonia, yep, good for you. You're a doctor. And that's pretty good. I just wish there was another book. Tom being evil, his House of Vines, the barmaid, I didn't really buy into. Red Cloud of Death was a bit much for me. Series as a whole, I think this series is exceptional, and I'm going to miss it. I am honestly going to miss it, and I'm very thankful that this book exists. I do like seeing a wider world beyond the Warren's magic. I like to see that even with the best intentions and in the modern world, that young women are still vulnerable, that we as parents have a duty to prepare our children for life, even in this modern world where you've got a teenager who's about to go into university, and we're not shown and we're not cared for and we're not informed. We can go right off the tracks and be taken advantage of. Yeah, I like the curse has ended. Yeah, that's all I've got for the last book of the Practical Magic series. I wish there was a bit more to it. And I think my big problem is, like I said, I'm repeating myself. I've got this, in my mind, mainland America, wherever the Practical Magic books are. I don't know, is it Massachusetts? I don't know. I don't even know where Massachusetts is. But I can buy all this happening. But Ian, the British magical researcher with his magic mum in the pub with the spells and the whatnot. I'm sure to some people that can seem quite mystical and magical. But for me, it just felt like it came out a little bit too early. I wish there was a bit more to it. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about this book. So, The Book of Magic. This book, The Book of Magic. If you've read the book, please comment below. If you think I'm completely wrong with anything, sound off. Let me know. Sound off wherever I picked that up. I don't know. Let me know. Have a chat with it. I think this is rushed. I've written a book, a romance book. I had to go with I didn't have a go. I talk about the gay characters. I've written a romance book. My characters aren't gay, they're straight in it. Which is something new and different to what I've ever been in. Who knows, maybe my book's not as well written as these scenes are. I think it's really easy for us to be able to just read a book and have a lot to say about it all at once. But does it affect the outcome of the book or other people's enjoyment or the author? No, it doesn't, and nor should it. It's just, it is what it is. But anyway, I'm hoping to send some more videos up soon. I'm trying to write a book at the moment. I'm trying to write a gay romance book, but it's not easy, which is surprising for me. What does that mean? I'm not an expert writer. I'm finding it hard. I've written another book. It's on my YouTube videos called Piano Wire. It's on Apple Books. It's for free. Feel free to check it out. I've got 5 reviews on it now, which is nice. But I'm kind of in that writer's block, so I'm trying to find writing again. I am here in Cairns for a few weeks, and that's where my book Piano Wire is set. So I'm trying to get some more of that energy that when I started in 2013 writing my first book. I'm trying to get that back for my second. It's not particularly easy. Feel free to have a look at some of the other videos on my channel. What am I reading at the moment? The Once and Future Witches, which I think is interesting. It's a good book, but I'm halfway through it, and now I'm like, it's going to a different place than I thought. There's many books about witches, like women in history who have had to, like the I'm going to say this wrong, suffragette movement, for women to be given the ability to vote and recognize that they are just the same as everyone else. Well, just the same as men. They are just the same as everyone else. There's many people out there in the world, and we're all equal, and we're all just as valid. But there's lots of books out there at the moment where they're representing that through witchcraft. And I think while I do appreciate this book, I do find it entertaining, and I like that whole idea of like everyday spells that are handed down. They're all throughout the book. I think I'm just getting to the point where I just want to read a true book on the women's suffragette movement, just to try and get I need a little bit of variance in my reading, so to speak. Now I'm just prattling on. I also saw the Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore last night, and that was a gay story told right, and I was very, very happy with that. I thought that was really, really great. But anyway, if you want to know my thoughts on it, ask me, but I've got a lot to say about it. And the books for that movie are coming out 14th of April, so I'm very excited to go and get them. And Jude Law's pretty dreamy, actually, in the grand scheme of things he is. But anyway, you've been great. Thank you for sitting through this 37 minutes. I'm Brad. This is Brad's Books, and I'd like to hopefully hear from you soon, and you'll see me soon. Bye.